Welcome, everyone, to Real Talk Sports Edition, where you're going to get sports talk and hot sports opinion that's hotter than a Texas summer. If you live in Texas, you know how hot that is. This is our first show. We're very excited about it. We're going to have the mayor of Allen on today, Mayor Ken Fulk. We have a pre-recorded interview that we did with the head coach of the Allen Eagles. And he's going to talk a little bit about the job that he took this summer and how he's facing the number one team in the nation, the St Johns Bosco Braves. We will follow his interview up, Coach Wiginton, with the head coach of St Johns Bosco, Coach Jason Negro. Two great interviews, great talk about sports, great talk about the biggest game in Texas and maybe the nation this week. So stick around. Here we go.
Welcome to Real Talk Sports Edition with Brian Badusco, where you will get sports talk and sports opinions hotter than a Texas summer.
Are you ready?
Whoop. I had the wrong one there, Mayor. Sorry about that, Mayor.
Are you ready?
I wasn't. Looks like I wasn't ready, but we are now.
You're just a little excited because I can tell you I'm excited.
I'm very excited. Of course, it's not always easy. Yeah, it's not always easy producing and being on there too. So, but yeah, new format. I don't think we could have hit a bigger home run with our guests today than what we did. So excited about that, Brian. I'm happy to do this show with you, partner with you. I'm going to let you tell everybody a little bit about what this show is going to be all about. One thing we do want everybody to know is we want you to be engaged. We want you to comment. If we can get you on air, we'll get you on air, but that's what we want to talk about.
Awesome. Yeah, man, I couldn't be more excited. This, as we've talked about just off the air, in previous couple years as part of the difference, always interwoven within our conversations of sports. So we're a couple of self-proclaimed sports nerds, which is what kind of brought this show into existence. So, Lennon, credit to you for saying, hey, let's think about shifting up Real Talk a little bit and shift it to a sports scene to kind of broaden our audience as well as tap into another one of our passions. So our previous shows have all been about business in some way, shape, or form. Sports also has come into the conversation, but now it's going to be a focus of conversation. And we're really going to talk about it through this roughly the same lens in that the things that happen in sports, whether it be youth sports, university, college level sports, or pro sports, all help you and accentuate the things that make the difference in life, right? So I guess we're just taking it to that next level of things that make the difference in business and life to sports and the things that make the difference in life.
Well, actually, yeah, exactly. And we our other shows are focusing on our communities around the DFW area. And there's nothing that brings us together more. I say brings us together. You can have those rivalries. You can have those rivalries, and that's okay. At the end of the day, though, sports does bring us together, and that's what we want to do for the communities. And really help a lot of these high schools and the athletes within those high schools get a lot more recognition than what they've been getting.
Yeah, I agree. And it may not bring us together, but it'll bring us together at least in the venue. And you talk about hitting a home run for our kickoff show. I was going to say inaugural, but I'm going to say kickoff show just because it's a sports themed word. But I'm super excited about the folks that we have on the show today. Specifically what I'd call probably the biggest high school football game potentially all year. And we have the key players in that in that game. So I couldn't be more excited for the show in general, for this first show, and for our guest today. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to some other fun topics and fun focal games as we go forward.
Yeah, as am I. Well, we do have our first guest. If you're ready to talk with Mayor Fulk, we will get Mayor Fulk on with us, and there's probably not going to be a bigger advocate and ambassador for Allen, Texas, than Mayor Fulk. So let's bring him on now.
Hey, Mayor, how are we doing today?
Hey, doing great. Looking forward to it.
Well, thanks for joining us today. We know you're busy. Allen is a fantastic city and town. We were talking before the show. It was one of our finalists when I moved down here from the city of Chicago 11 years ago. So all the things that Allen has going for it. First and foremost, coming up tomorrow, the big football game. So tell us about what's going on in the city. It's focal to the football game.
Well, a lot of people are looking forward to this game with a lot of anticipation. One, I think they're excited about our new coach, and they're looking forward to see what he can do early on in the season. We've got a lot of things stacked against him coming in during the summer, trying to take over a team like Allen, and we've got a storied past, doing great over the last really 20 years in football. Although our legacy in football goes back to even to the 50s, Allen has been a great football team since six-man football. And it's hard to imagine six-man football in Collin County, but we had it once upon a time. And Allen used to be like the champion in that league when they played in it. So it's a big game, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
That's fantastic. So I think we're all looking forward to it, and we'll get to the game here in a little bit, but let's circle back and just talk about the city of Allen and how your journey to get to be the mayor of the city of Allen. So how long have you been mayor of the city of Allen?
I've actually only been mayor of the city of Allen for 2 years, but I have some history in the city. One, I moved here in 1994 with my wife. She was pregnant with her first child. We're looking for a place to settle down and be forever, because basically I moved around a lot as a kid, about every 2 years, and I didn't want my kids to experience that. And so we were looking for a small town that was growing and a place where we could grow with the city, which we have. So since 1984, I've been a volunteer doing a lot of different things, and I got involved with the city in 1985, working on our first comprehensive plan, then got on planning and zoning for 9 years, and then got elected to city council, was on city council for 9 years, served on the Allen Economic Development Corporation board for about 5 years, and then was off for quite a while. And then in the last couple of years, we implemented term limits for our city council. And so that got a lot of people asking about who's going to be the next mayor, and everybody kept telling me it was me. And although at the time I really wasn't listening much, I finally decided that, I think I can do the job and do a good job. And so I stepped up to the plate to do it.
That's fantastic. So you've been in office for 2 years. So Allen, like I said, it was one of our finalists when we moved down here. We eventually ended up moving to Frisco.
Yes.
But tell us what makes Allen unique, because there's a lot of things that are special about Allen, and then we can get into the school, the ISD system as well. But tell us what makes Allen unique.
Well, first of all, I would say Allen is unique because even though it's a city of nearly 110,000 people, it's still kind of got that small town feel. When you come to Allen and you meet the people and you talk to them and you participate in activities with them, you feel like you've been here for a long time, even though you may be a newcomer. So I think that's a really big deal. The other thing is, over time, our city has become very diverse. It wasn't so diverse when I moved here, but it's very diverse now. But it's also a very inclusive city that people recognize that we're not all the same, we're different, and everybody gets along very well together. And I would say that it makes us unique compared to other communities. The other thing is, we've worked really hard over a long period of time of strategically and intentionally trying to make things better. And because of that, over the last really decade, the city of Allen has been like one of the top cities in regards to various rankings. And the two rankings I'm most proud of is that we've been, like, for cities our size, we've been one of the top 10 friendliest cities to live in the country. We've been in the top 10 cities in regards to safest cities to live in. And, the list kind of goes on. And when you look at all the metrics of how cities are evaluated, we're kind of on the top. And matter of fact, we've won the top Parks and Recreation program in the country at least once, and I think we're working on a second one now. So, when you look at all those things, everything points to Allen being great. And but to find that out, you just have to go out in the community and visit with people and get to know them, and you'll find out that we have a lot of really intelligent citizens that are also, kind of servant leaders in the sense that they have a lot of leadership capabilities, but they also volunteer to do a lot of things. We have more volunteers than positions that we can fill in the city. And right now we're looking at appointing people to boards and commissions, and we have over 100 people that have applied, and we really only have about 20 some spots to fill, and they're all great candidates. And it makes it really tough for us to try to pick people to fill those positions.
That's a nice luxury to have, especially in today's world. It feels like if you're running a business, it's the opposite, right?
Right.
Oh, that's fantastic. So thanks for sharing that. Specific to the school district, the ISD, the Allen ISD, I know that's unique versus a lot of those that are in the area. And that's relevant a little bit to the football game that we have as the underlying topic here today. Can you tell the audience a little bit about what makes the Allen ISD unique versus other areas?
Well, first of all, I would say from a school board perspective and the key administrators and the superintendent, you'll find that they're second to none. And similar to the city, they have also received accolades from state education agency as well as other groups. HEB, the big grocer that many people are very familiar with in the Texas area, which is expanding to North Texas now. Allen actually has its HEB under construction right now, but they recognize the top school board in the state. And this last year, HEB actually bestowed that honor on Allen ISD. So it kind of starts at the top, but I think we also work really hard to try to make sure that we get good teachers in that not only are good educators, but educators that actually have true concern about the students and try to work with the students to try to make them the best that they can. We realize that not every kid's going to go to college, so we try to focus on, trying to prepare those that want to go to college, but also prepare those that want to go into, some vocation that doesn't require college, and also for those that may not even attend college at all. And that kind of trickles down to athletics and coaching and things like that. All of our coaches are very interested in the athletes, as far as trying to teach them to be the best athlete they can at the sport that they're in, but they also want to teach them life lessons to prepare them for life beyond school and beyond athletics, because you're not going to play sports your entire life at that high level.
No, that's the truth, and that's fantastic, because ultimately isn't that the goal of the school system, is to get those kids prepared. And I think the size of those schools and the quality of the schools that Allen has and the staff that make those up is certainly sets you guys apart. So I'm going to have two things, because I know we've got a lot of content today. First one I want to ask you is just one thing off the top of your head that makes Allen that everybody should know about Allen. That's number one.
Okay, there's so many things I could say. The first thing is we're the smallest big city in Collin County, and we have one of the lowest tax rates of any big city in the Metroplex. I think right now, currently, our tax rate is only second to Plano, and we're in the process of changing our tax rate. They're in the process of changing theirs, and by the end of next week, we may actually be the lowest tax rate in Collin County for big cities. And what that means to taxpayers is you get the best bang for your buck by being a citizen of Allen, because our tax rates are low, but yet you have some of the best amenities in the county as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, spoken like a true salesman. I'm in the real estate industry. So as long as we get some folks listening from California because of this high school football matchup, that was probably the best point you could have made right there. So great answer on that one. And the last question I'm going to ask her, I guess it's not really a question. It's more of an opportunity, let's call it. so we have you on the show, and we got you on the show in very short order, and you as the mayor have a very tight schedule. So we appreciate you coming on the show. We made the same offer to the mayor of Bellflower, which is where St. Johns Bosco Braves are located. Unfortunately, his schedule is extremely busy and wasn't able to join us. So we do thank him for trying to rearrange his schedule. But the opportunity here is we were going to set up a nice friendly bet between the two cities. Since he's not on, this gives you the opportunity to kind of set the bet and set the rules to it. So I offer that to you right now as your parting gift.
Well, since he's not here, I think automatically he should go ahead and at least admit that he needs to at least send something to Alan as a kind of just a consolation prize, just for the fact that he's not here. But secondly, whenever we talk about wagers and things like that, sometimes we do a wager where, if we lose the game, he can send me a jersey and I'll wear his jersey for a day. And if they lose, then he has to wear our jersey for a day in their school, go to their school and wear it in the school.
That's awesome.
That's a fair bet right there, and we'll get you back on the show with the jersey on. If they happen to win, and vice versa, we're going to get him on the show wearing the Allen Eagles jersey if the Eagles win.
I would love to see that, and I hope that happens.
Well, we are working on it. We just had short notice. Again, thank you for coming on such short notice, but hopefully we will get him on in a follow-up.
It's going to be a heck of a game. I'm really looking forward to it. Them being ranked number one means that, their coach has a long history of being, at the top for the last 12 years. So it's nothing new to him. Unfortunately, we've been down a little bit over the last couple of years just because of, coach changes. But we've got the right coach. Wiginton is, he's the guy for Allen. And, I don't know if he can do it in one game, but I think by the end of the year, he's going to have a really tough football team that will, make it tough for other people during the playoffs.
Yep. And that's a great segue to our next segment, which we're going to have Coach Wiginton on when we interviewed him. Unfortunately, Mayor, we're out of time for yours. We want to have you back as much as you want to come back. We'd love to have you on and talk about Allen and Allen football. Again, thank you so much for being on with us. I'm going to give you the last word, and then we're going to cut to commercial break. And actually, we will not. After you're done, Brian and I are going to discuss the upcoming segment with Coach Wiginton, and then we'll cut to commercial break.
Okay, thank you. I would just like to add, that we were talking earlier about the Allen Event Center, the Credit Union of Texas Event Center is what it's called now. It's a great place to go for a lot of different activities. Obviously, the Allen Americans play there, and if you're a hockey fan, that's the place to go. You'll see some of the best hockey just short of going to the NHL. We also have some other great amenities in Allen, and I think our parks and recreation facilities and all are just fantastic. And we have some of the best hike and bike trails. We have like over 70 miles of hike and bike trails in Allen, and we're not even done building them. But if it's, if you want to get outdoors and just get a little bit of exercise that way, it's a great thing to go to. We have great shopping opportunities. We have Cabela's and many other fine dining establishments and retail and stuff like that. Waters Creek is a very unique place in Allen as well. Mm-hmm. It's a very walkable, place that you can shop, you can eat. You can spend all day there if you want to, but most people don't do that.
All right.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate you being on. Again, good luck this weekend to Allen, and we'll see you in the future. All right. Thanks again.
All right. Yeah. Look forward to it. Thank you all very much. Have a great day.
All right. Go Eagles.
Go Eagles. That's right.
All right, Brian. We got to cut the break here shortly. We're going to come back with our interview with Coach Wiginton. Before we cut the break, do you have any tidbits on when we talk to Coach? What should people expect when they come back to watch this interview?
Yeah, that's a great question because there's so much to unpack in his interview, which you'll see here in a minute. But I came away from the conversation blown away. Wasn't sure what to expect, knowing that Coach Wiginton is new to the program, and knowing that the Allen program had been through a little bit of change over the last several years. So he's faced with a enormous first game here, big challenge, obviously. And I think the biggest thing that I'll take away, or that I take away and walked away from our conversation with him, was not so much what's happening on the field, but what's going to happen off the field. So I'll leave it there, and we can cut the break.
Okay. All right. Let me make sure we got the right one. Here we
This
go.
is made possible by the following small businesses. WeatherTech General Contracting. We make your home renovation dreams a reality.
Metroplex Delivery is DFW's premier restaurant delivery service. Metroplex Delivery brings premium restaurant food right to your door. Metroplex Delivery offers uncompromising white glove treatment. Launching in McKinney and Allen. Give Metroplex Delivery a call at 469-505-0844 or online at www.metroplex.delivery.com. And by
Alan Lester, branch manager and team lead for the One Group, a branch of Town Square Mortgage. With over 22 years in the mortgage lending industry, Allen and Town Square Mortgage have many loan program options available from conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, jumbo, and many investor and self-employed programs. So if you're looking for the best in the business, give Allen a call at 214-681-0234.
for more information about our sponsors and their services, or if you would like information on how you and your business can partner with or sponsor this show, or others like it. Just check the show description or comments for the relevant links and contact information. And now back to the show.
We have an extremely special guest to kick off this new segment of the show. Joining us today is the new head coach of the Allen Eagles football program, Coach Lee Wiginton. Coach, welcome to the show.
Welcome,
Thank you,
Coach.
Brian. Thank you, Lyndon. Thank you guys so much for having me on. This is an awesome treat.
Well, we appreciate you for being here, especially all the trouble you just went through to get on here.
So special shout out to the Allen ISD IT staff, because they made this happen behind the scenes.
Yeah, no kidding. It was way above my pay grade, and I'm thankful for them. But again, just thankful for you and then you guys, what you're doing to showcase high school football and especially Allen Eagle football.
Awesome. Well, like I mentioned up front, you are the brand new head coach of the Allen Eagle football team. I know a little bit about your background, but we'd love to hear kind of your journey on how you got to the powerhouse that is Allen, and what the outlook looks like, and just let's start there.
Yeah. Well, I got here by growing up a coach's kid and just going around and learning the ropes from the greatest coach I know, my dad, and just taught me everything about the profession, how to treat people, and how to respect your opponent. Build relationships with everyone you have a chance to build them with, and went off to college at Angelo State, and kind of got tied up with a guy named Dan Gandy out there. Used to coach in the Metroplex at Duncanville, and he ended up at San Angelo Central. He kind of got me on. And then I went back and coached with my dad for a year in our hometown, which was Lampasas. Then went over to a town called Bastrop, just down south of Austin, spent about 5 years there. And then in 2000, I moved into my first head coaching job, a little AD head football job at a place called Bosqueville. It was 1A at the time, a little 2A school, about 140 students in high school there in Waco. Awesome, was there 4 years, then moved out to San Antonio, a school called Comfort, which was a 2A, which is now called 3A. Spent 4 years there, then moved over to Mahia, Mexia, to you guys that don't know Mahia, but just east of Waco there. Spent a couple years there, then moved up to Midlothian and spent 5 years in a phenomenal district where we played, the Cedar Hill, DeSoto, Duncanville, those schools. Had a great time there, and then had an opportunity to open a school in Midlothian, which was awesome, starting from the ground up and putting everything together just as you dreamed it should look, in terms of sharing athletes, strength and conditioning programs, all those, and just building a tradition. It was really, really cool. And then again, that just led to the absolute dream job on the planet, the Allen Eagle football job. I think it's I think it's the greatest high school football program in the world. Ton of tradition, but ton of support, ton of expectation, ton of pride, one school town, just everything that you dream of.
Coach, real quick, when were you at Mahia?
08 and 09 season, so 08 to 10.
Okay, so I coached at Dallas Christian for 14 years. We played a couple playoff games there, so I didn't know if you were down there, but it was way before that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, good place.
Don't age yourself too much there, Lyndon.
I've been out as coaching for a long time, and I'm old, so they still had leather helmets when I was playing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned the best high school, program in the country. It's hard to argue that. I mean, heck, look at what's your backdrop is. Look at that stadium.
Oh my gosh.
One of my actually my first experience with Texas Friday Night Lights was an Allen football game at that stadium. So I was, I guess you could say, in awe that I was at a high school football game. I grew up in the Chicago area, up in Illinois. A lot of big football programs up there, but nothing like what you have down here in Texas and Dallas-Fort Worth in particular. I was blown away by that stadium, that program. So I know exactly what you're talking about. What does it feel like to walk out in that stadium knowing that you're coaching a high school football game? That's gotta feel pretty cool. Yeah,
I mean, it's if you take time to think about it, it's one of those things that I wouldn't be able to grasp. I really wouldn't. I can't believe that I'm here. I can't believe that I'm working in Allen. I can't believe that I get to be around these great coaches on the staff. Around these kids, it's humbling and overwhelming. But luckily for me, the way I'm wired is I don't take much time to think about it. I kind of I'm in the moment. I'm where my feet are, and I'm focused on doing what I'm doing. But if I walk out there and I look at that picture that you flashed up, and I think about that crowd and those people that are all going to watch that football game, and I allow myself to think that I'm a part of that, then again, it would just blow me away.
Well, speaking of a big moment coming up, you're going to be facing the number one ranked team in the country, St. Johns Bosco, this coming weekend.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, what a great opportunity! You don't go out, and again, it doesn't matter whether I'm at the smallest high school in the state of Texas or the largest, but you're working with the athletes, and you don't do all the things that you do and put in all the work in hopes of playing somebody that you feel like you're going to walk off the bus and win. You want to play the best in whatever it is you do, whatever, you're competing against. You want to have the best talk show in the nation. We want to have the best team in the nation. So whatever it is, you go out there with the same goals, the same focus. So what everyone's saying, this is the best, most talented team, the top team in the nation. What a great start to the season, and be able to go out there and have our kids have an opportunity to go toe to toe with them.
That's awesome. Well, Coach, I've got a question that every coach hates to hear. But now that I'm on the other side of it, I have to ask it. Is this game the biggest game? I mean, how are you approaching this as maybe the biggest game in your career so far?
I mean, I would tell you it's far from the biggest game I've ever been a part of for a number of reasons. First and foremost is it's a non-district football game.
Right.
If you're asking about the biggest game I've ever been a part of, if it's not a playoff game, then it's not going to compare.
That's a great answer. Great
well,
answer.
When you get to that time of the season, that's what you play for every year. When you're at an Allen, you're playing to win state championships. Obviously, you're playing to win every game you play. You're playing to win every snap you play. It doesn't matter if you're playing an inter-squad scrimmage or whatever it is. You're expected to win here. But the bottom line is the ultimate goal is we're preparing right now to win a state championship, and this is part of that journey, right? This is, if they say this is the best team in the nation, then whoever says that certainly believes it's the best team in the state of Texas, because we're certainly a part of the nation. So it's an opportunity for us to say, okay, well, what about us? We want to be in the mix, we want to be in the discussion, and we're certainly working that way. So. Big game. If I was going to make an argument for it being the biggest game, it would be the biggest game simply because it's the game coming up this week.
Exactly. How are you managing the kids? I mean, I'm sure we all kind of get wrapped up in number one. But as a coach, and this, you just have to focus on the fundamentals and and do all the right things that you're coached to do. Is there any hype, or has that been just something that I mean, Allen is they've been there, done that. So I'm assuming that for Allen, this is not overwhelming like it may be for another school that doesn't have Allen's pedigree. How are the kids handling, what's coming up?
Well, I can't speak on, how Allen has handled it in the past, because I've been here 2 months. They half this football season was over when I got here. I showed up on June 6th and started up. So, the reality is that, we're still trying to find ourselves. So we understand we have a game this Friday night, and we are preparing for a football game Friday night. But there's not time for us to sit back and say, okay, the work's been done. Let's really sit there and think about who we're playing and talk about the magnitude of the number one team in the nation. We're so far from that right now. For us, it's we've got work to do, as we'll have the entire year. But it's a hard hat mentality of showing up, doing what we've got to do to get ready for the next day. So again, I'm sure when the kids are walking the halls, they're hearing things, but you don't see anything any different this week than you saw last week or mid-July. They're showing up, they're fired up to learn, they're working as hard as anyone in the country has ever worked. Their attitudes are phenomenal. Their focus is off the charts. It's just a really, really great group to be around, fun to coach, but there's been very little talk about the magnitude of the opponent.
Right.
But it's what they know is it's the first game of the year, and it's a really, really big game because it's the first game of the year against a team that a lot of people are talking about. But again, as a football player, we're a lot more excited about finally a game is here as opposed to really even who it's against.
Sure. Well, I know Brian's got a couple questions about your relationship and position right now with Texas High School Coaches Association. I want to ask you before he talks about that. I noticed that you won an award on coaching beyond the game. Could you talk a little bit about that? That's something that I'm not familiar with, and I'd like to know a little bit more about that.
Well, it's an award that our Coach Association gives out. It just like so many things, I've been blessed far more than I've ever deserved. But it's that they just, I guess they look for programs that do things outside X's and O's, maybe outside just straight winning between the lines. And our program takes a great pride in doing those things. We have certain things that we're going to hang our hat on, and we're going to strive to be the most competitive team and win every game, every rep that we play. But we'll never do that in place of doing everything we can to help these young men become the best students and the best athletes, but most importantly, the best men they can become. And we're going to do that by so many different areas. And our program is filled with those. Even in the short time we've been here at Allen, we've done 5 or 6 things that we consider our team building activities, which are big community projects. And it would be centered around that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love hearing that, Coach, and I think that that's kind of what we talk about on the show from what we have in the past with the business community, local entrepreneurs, and lifting the local community. So I absolutely love hearing that, from a coaching aspect as well. So tell us real quick. I saw that you're the president of the Texas High School Coaches Association. What is that organization?
It's the greatest. It's the largest of its kind in the world. It's a coaches association that's of all high school coaches in the state of Texas. It's an association that leads or that is over all sports, male and female sports. Middle school, high school sports. We have so many things that the association does to help coaches. Help kids, in terms of, you talk about our game of football, how it's been under attack for a number of years, but our association's at the forefront of continuing to make it safe, right? We all know it's far safer than it's ever been. And the association's very involved in things like that with the out-of-us tackling and things of that sort. The association constantly looks for ways to just promote the brand of high school sports, from, there's a new program coming out now called Extra Yard for Teachers, where they just find different ways. So many programs honor Teacher of the Week, which we always have. And now that's a program that's taken off, where there'll be a game ball presented. They sign up, every school that takes part will get a free game ball to present to that Teacher of the Week. Just different things to again, like you guys do, just create pride in your communities, but pride amongst throughout the state of Texas, through the vehicle of high school athletics. And it's just it's a great association. So I'm so proud, as been called a coach for a long time. And you've always understood the significance of that and how proud I am to be a coach. But then when you get more involved in the association, you realize Joe Martin is our executive director and Glenn West is the assistant executive director. And when you see all that they do to continue to promote the profession, it's incredibly humbling to be a part of.
That's fantastic. Awesome. To hear that you're carrying on a legacy within the family. Now that you have the best job in the country, and you're the head of that organization, that's fantastic. So thanks for all that you do there. Lendon, I know we're going to be tight on time here, but do you have anything else you want to cover with Coach before we let him go?
I just two things, and I hope we can do it quickly. But you mentioned you came in June. You've been here 2 months and taking over. Talk a little bit, if you will, about what kind of a challenge that is, and then also I would like for you just to touch a little bit on your opponent, St Johns Bosco. I'm sure you've watched quite a bit of film, and just get your thoughts on them as a program.
Yeah. In terms of a challenge, it's no more challenge than any other coach in the country has on a daily basis. The challenge was getting to know names. You're in a program where there's 540 kids playing high school football, so there's a lot of kids out there. But it's been fun. We have summer strength and conditioning going on, so getting around the kids and putting them through the summer strength and conditioning, getting plugged into that aspect of the program was really exciting. And then you roll into fall camp, and you're constantly trying to find out what they were doing, what changes you would like to kind of try to build in and different things like that. But I'm not going to sit here and say that there were challenges that were any different than any other school coach, certainly in our state, faced on a daily basis. What it is again, just a tremendous blessing to be able to coach this game and coach. When you have that many kids, you talk about, we go to coaching school, which is part of our coaches association every year, and everyone's going to ask, how are you going to be? And it's pretty much the answer is the same. It doesn't matter, again, whether we have, as many kids as we have here, or whether I was at the 140 student high school. Is everyone kind of tends to convince themselves that, we're going to be pretty good as long as we don't get anybody hurt. And I realize that answer, it kind of applies at all levels. That we, as you're around your kids and you create competition, you create you hope to create depth, and you're never as deep as you want to be. It doesn't matter what level you're at, but you grow to love who you have, and you grow to really, really believe in them. And that didn't take me long to do here. I absolutely love everything about these kids and the way they work, and their passion for the game, and the way they treat each other. It's just an awesome place. So again, the challenge has been getting to know people and just getting to know the lay of the land, and trying to reach out to as many people as I can and say, what is Allen Eagle football to you? And what do I need to know? And what can I do to make you proud as being a part of it now? So that's been the challenging part, is just connecting to people. But in terms of being around the kids, it's just hitting the ground running as you do everywhere you are every year. Getting into the opponent that we have this week, they're an incredibly talented team. I would be lying if I told you that I'd probably ever seen anyone as talented as them. They're just, again, they have a lot of tools. They do a good job. California football is a little bit different than Texas football and the things that they're allowed to do throughout the summer. So their level of preparation is probably higher than than Texas teams this time of year, just because of what we're allowed to do. And they're doing it with some really, really, really talented athletes.
Yeah.
I don't know a ton about their coaching staff other than the times I visited with them on the phone. And the head coach seems like an awesome guy, very, very nice. You can just tell by watching them on film that they have a plan, an awesome plan, and they do a great job of coaching the kids. You know, they're not a team that's rolling in here that you say, well, we're going to be able to really exploit them here. They don't do a very good job with this. You know, that simply doesn't exist. But again, you know, you guys who are going to talk high school football, you know, you're not going to be talking about a team that anyone considers the best team in the country and think that those weaknesses would exist, you know, and
Right.
And what you would think is accurate. I mean, they're a really good football team, but what they are is they're high school kids who work and do the things that they do at their place. They love the game like the kids do in Allen, and you know, when they step on the field, there's 11 of theirs going to be on the field, and 11 of ours going to be on the field, and we're going to be fired up and excited for every rep, every snap that occurs.
That's great. That's great. Well, Coach, we really appreciate it. Congratulations on getting the best high school coaching job in the nation, and good luck to you this Thursday. We're Texas boys, or I am, you know, so I'm going to be rooting for the Eagles, that's for sure. And we want to thank you very much for being our very first guest on the new show.
Well, thank you guys again. I really, really, really appreciate you taking time to visit with me today, and I hope you have a wonderful fall.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, guys.
You're muted, Lyndon. There we go.
That was kind of weird for you and I, sitting back and taking a break and watching it. I kept trying to decide which tab I was supposed to hit on the board to go to a change, but it's already been done. So
yeah, it is kind of strange not having live interaction the entire time. So yeah, a little bit. It is kind of fun though, looking back on the interview, because you get a chance to kind of take out some key nuggets, which you don't necessarily get to do when you're running live, right?
No, I was thinking the same thing. You know, we want to have a recap towards the end of the show, and I don't know that we could really have the deep thought that we're able to do after doing the interview and then watching it again. Of course, we did Coach Negro the same way. He's coming up next, and so when that interview is over, you and I are going to deep dive a little bit into what we heard. But yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, it was fun. A couple key takeaways that I had, from Coach Wiginton. You know, obviously he's thrown into a pretty rough situation with his first game being against the number one team in the country, storied program, much like Allen's is. But the thing that I really took away is just how grounded his approach was or is going into this game. Right? It's field's 100 yards. It's no different than any other week. Don't get caught up in the hype per se. So I thought that was a key takeaway. And then I liked his, his approach going into how he manages the program more as kind of like a servant leader. How his approach of getting input from the parents, what is Allen football to you, that sort of thing is things that I took away as impressive, being in that tough spot that he's in. Yeah,
that's true. I was telling the mayor before we went on air earlier that it takes a coach with a lot of confidence to take on that job, to take on the job of coaching a team on that short notice, but take on the Allen Eagle job where the expectations are so great. Kudos to him for doing that, because that's I've been coaching a long time, or years ago, but I know there's a lot of coaches that I've known that would have been hesitant to do that. That's a big challenge. But I don't know if you saw the comment or not, but we actually had a comment. I'm going to put it back up there. Let's go Huskers, smelling that sixth natty. Appreciate you commenting. I'm not sure that they're going to win the sixth natty because they got to beat the Razorbacks first. Anyway, we appreciate you commenting and keep with us, keep commenting, and we'll comment back. Well, Brian, we get ready to go to the next section. I know we're going to run over time today, which is fine. It's our first show, a lot to get in. So we're going to get ready. I'm going to have to get this thing keyed up and queued up a little bit better than I did the last one. This is a new feature that we got, folks. So appreciate you bearing with me here on this. But
yeah, for those of you who don't know or who haven't seen previous shows, when it was just real talk from a business perspective, Lyndon was always in the background being the master producer. So now he's wearing two hats. Not only is he actively participating in the show, throwing out hot sports opinions, but he's also producing. So we're working on getting that hire for a background production guy. But right now, Lyndon's doing both.
yeah. So let me see if I can get it queued up here. Hopefully we do it better than we did last time. And it is not the easiest thing to produce and be on in here and pay attention. So here we go. We're going to go to commercial break. Then the coming up right behind that is going to be Coach Jason Negro.
The difference is made possible by the following small businesses.
Are you in the market for a new or used car or truck? Then contact Derek Wallets at Sam Pack's 5-Star Ford in Carrollton, Texas today. With Derek's 20-plus years of experience in automobile sales consulting and Sam Pack's 42 years of exceptional service in the DFW community, you will quickly understand what it means to experience the Sam Pack difference. So give Derek and Sam Pack 5-Star Ford a call today at 972-299-0028 or email him at dwallets@sampack.com.
WeatherTech General Contracting. We make your home renovation dreams a reality.
Metroplex Delivery is DFW's premier restaurant delivery service. Metroplex Delivery brings premium restaurant food right to your door. Metroplex Delivery offers uncompromising white glove treatment. Launching in McKinney and Allen. Give Metroplex Delivery a call at 469-505-0844 or online at www.metroplex.delivery. And by
Alan Lester, branch manager and team lead for the One Group, a branch of Town Square Mortgage. With over 22 years in the mortgage lending industry, Allen and Town Square Mortgage have many loan program options available from conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, jumbo, and many investor and self-employed programs. So if you're looking for the best in the business, give Alan a call at 214-681-0234.
If you would like to know how you and your business can sponsor this show or others like it, please contact us at info@thedifferenceradio.com. And now back to the show.
All right. Welcome back from break. We have in this next segment with us a very special guest all the way from California, Mr. Jason Negro, head coach of the St Johns Bosco Braves. Let's bring him on, Lyndon.
All right. Welcome, Coach.
Hey, thanks, guys, for having me. I'm really proud to be a part of your program here.
Well, we're proud to have you here, and we're excited about the game coming up.
Yeah, we're super excited as well. Totally.
Cool. Well, hey, I know you guys came a long way for this game. We'll get into some of those logistics in a little bit. Reading your bio, sounds like you have a little bit of St. Johns Bosco Braves blood in you. Can you tell us about your journey to how you got to be head coach of St. John?
Sure. I'm a graduate, St. Johns Bosco, class of 91, and I grew up in the city of Bellflower. It's where our school's at. It's an all-boys Catholic high school with about 750 students. So we're on the smaller side of things in terms of full enrollment. But I was just a public school kid growing up in Bellflower. Parents wanted a better education opportunity for me, so I went to Bosco, and then I played a couple years of college baseball, and then got into coaching at the youth level when I was around 19. Just fell in love with the game of football, wanted to be a part of it. Went back to my alma mater, Bosco, coached for 3 years, and then moved on to a public school in Orange County in an area where I was a math teacher, coach for 9 years, the last 7 of which is of head coach. And then I got a call in the winter of 2009, led into the spring of 2010 from the athletic director at the time, Monty McDermott, who was a classmate of mine, also a Bosco graduate, and said, listen, we might have an opportunity for you to come in and talk about the football coaching job. And we went back and forth for a couple of weeks. And at the end of the day, it was just a prime opportunity and a time for me and my family to make the move, and decided to do that. And no better place to go back to your alma mater than to try to kind of resurrect it and put it on the national stage, and which wasn't the plan at the time. We just wanted to win some ball games. But we've kind of blown it up over the last few years, and we have a long way to go. And we think we're just scratching the surface on how good we can be in this program.
That's incredible. Yeah, I was looking at the resume of the Braves, and I tell you what, the last 10, 15 years has been fantastic. So congratulations on all your success over that time. Man, I just heard you say, what, 750 students? Is that what you said? Okay,
yeah,
so
we're fighting strong, man. We're 750 deep, and but
That's impressive.
That in and of itself is impressive, because we heard from your opponent's coach, Coach Wiginton. They have over 500 people in their football program alone. So it's amazing that you can do that on a 750 student population.
Right. It's funny. I obviously we're trolling their Twitter and stuff like that and social media, just trying to get a little bit. I mean, natural, right?
Absolutely.
So we're looking at it, and I came across their weekly schedule, and I'm just peeking at it from a coach's standpoint. It's like, what can I steal from this to try to implement in my program? Always trying to learn from good people. And I know Coach Wiginton's got a good reputation. He's done really good things here in Texas. So I was looking at his week schedule, and then I come across today, Thursday, and I'm like, what do they got going over there? They got, 3 JV games and 4 freshman games? I'm like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 200. We're pretty lucky. We have about 185 or 190 players in our program out of the 750. So like I always say, if you have the right number of 750, you can accomplish quite a bit of, the things. And it's not necessarily about overall enrollment. It's about, having kids. You can only play 11 at a time. So if you put them out there and you can coach them up, and you got good kids that buy into a culture, you could accomplish a lot. But I tell you what, I would love to draw from that pool of what they have, 7,000 students over there with 500 football players.
Yeah,
a big pool to pull from.
It's like a medium-sized university. It's no joke over there, and I'm sure you've seen the stadium and all that stuff. So yeah, it's pretty incrable.
Sir.
Where have you guys been practicing at? You mentioned you're already in town. Where have you been practicing?
We got into town Wednesday morning, and we got an early flight out of LA and got into the Dallas area, came to the hotel, got set up, and then we went over to SMU. Unfortunately, because of the weather, their field was out of commission in the stadium. We were supposed to practice in the stadium, which would have been a great experience for my kids, but they were super gracious over there. They put us on their grass fields. They have adjacent grass fields to their stadium over there. And we had all their field equipment. We were able to get a really solid Wednesday practice in. Monday and Tuesday, we were back at home, so didn't have any disruptions there. Solid practice yesterday in full gear out here in Texas. And then today, we practiced at Prestonwood Christian Academy. I'd like to give them a big thank you and for the appreciation and the hospitality that they showed us. Great facility over there at Prestonwood. And people have been very, very kind to us out here, and we've been able to accomplish things much like we would be at home.
That's great. Yeah, we kind of get excited about high school football here in Texas. So, it's pretty a pretty good atmosphere. People are friendly. They're gonna work with you. If they're not playing you, by the way.
I was going to say, anybody that's not playing us has been awesome. But the people that have been close to the game have been like, timeout. It was funny, we called a local parish because we need our priest was unable to attend and perform our team mass that we're going to have tomorrow prior to game day. And so we called a local parish and we're like, hey, here in Allen, we said, listen, could we get a priest? Maybe you could come over to the hotel and perform mass for us. And the lady kind of chuckled and she goes, well, we all are Allen fans over here at the church. And it's like, well, maybe could you give us 30 minutes of neutrality so you could come and bless our kids and stay safe? But it's been all kind of fun and games. But yeah, if you're playing Allen, man, this community gets behind them, and you got to give them a lot of credit. They're not making it easy on us.
No, and they're unique to Texas. When you look at a lot of these school districts, they have multiple high schools, and Allen has intentionally kept just that one. So they've got that massive pool of athletes to pull from. So it's kind of like, as you can see, I'm a Razorback fan, right? So Arkansas has the University of Arkansas Razorbacks. They've got some other small schools. I played for one of them. but it is it's so different when the whole state is behind one team and when one city is behind one team.
Well, and that's primarily the reason why, there was a couple schools over the years that we've kind of circled that we've wanted to play because of that tradition, because of what they bring in the community. Friday Night Lights is powerful. I mean, we're going to watch it tonight as a team movie. But Friday Night Lights is powerful. I read the book back when I was a college student and really got into it, and really kind of fell in love with that type of spirit that this community is going to give. And so when I started to look at games over the last probably 6, 7, 8 years, Claude Mathis over at DeSoto is a good dude. Looked at the guys at South Lake Carroll or maybe Katy. So he has such great programs out here. And Coach McGuire was at Cedar Hill. I know we had talked to him at one point about possible trying to match up with them. And like I said, going back to Coach Westerberg and Allen, I always wanted to check that bucket list off. I think Allen is, I know they've gone through some coaching challenges over the last couple of years, and that's kind of derailed their program just slightly. I'm not gonna take too much away from them because they're still a very powerful program here in the state, and they're gonna, obviously do some really good things under Coach Wiginton. But Allen and the stadium, all that comes with it, even though it's a big state, it's got the small town feel to it. A lot of people are going to come out to it. I want to provide an experience for my kids, and I think this is going to be a great chance for us to be able to do that. And I want them to make it hard on us because, again, when you put your kids under stress, you want to see them how they're going to perform. So make it as stressful as possible because I think we're going to hopefully thrive in that environment. The kids are going to feed off of it, and we're going to play well.
So, Coach, how is your team? How are they responding to being ranked the number one team in all of high school and taking on this game, that stadium, this atmosphere?
Well, the rankings are not necessarily new for us. It's something that we have had to toil with in our program over the last, like you said, 10, 12 years. So, we're accustomed to that. We kind of expect it year in and year out. And I talk to our kids all the time. I mean, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. I know that's a cliche that a lot of people use, but if you could go wire to wire and go from number one in the country to all the way to number one in December, you've accomplished quite a bit. That's a long ways. It's 15 weeks of football for us to try to, prove to the country that we are the top team. We also realize it's mythical. It's not, it's a bunch of guys getting together at a couple different platforms and putting us out there. And but we certainly want to be able to be in that conversation. And Allen is providing us with that because it's helping us build a resume against a quality national opponent. So that's great. And now in terms of the atmosphere and stuff like that, I don't think you can totally create that, but we get some pretty big crowds, here in California. When we play Mater Dei, we play in front of 12, 15,000 people, and that's a big high school rivalry. Typically, we played them twice in a row. Our stadium holds about 6,200, and that place is we have no track around it. It's a football only facility. It's very tight. It's only 17 yards from the sideline to the bleachers. So it's a pretty cool environment for California standards. So we're used to it. We pumped in some Ohio State fight song, the band playing to prepare for Allen because I know that 900-member band is going to bring it tomorrow night. I think our kids are going to be okay. I mean, there's going to be some sloppiness and some lack of execution because of the environment, but that's what you hope for. And our whole thing is about preparing our kids for college, and this is about as collegiate an atmosphere as you're going to find on Friday night at the high school level. And what better way to do that than to play Allen in this great venue?
Right.
That's awesome. So I have a segue based on your college comment there. Been doing a little bit of research on the the NIL offer that supposedly was floated your guys' way. So NIL, name, image, likeness, obviously new at the university level, extremely new at the high school level. And the team concept is what I read about. I also just read this morning that maybe that's fake news. So is there any breaking news on that front, or can you give a little background on that?
Well, I mean, basically it's about, the rules that we're governed by in the CIF Southern section. So our California state, is broken down into 7 sections. We're part of the CIF Southern section. And, we cannot, as a high school or as a program or a team, accept a team-wide deal. So there's a lot of fallacy out there that everybody on Bosco's roster is getting paid. That's not true. We had our kids were presented an opportunity as if they were being solicited for a job to go out and distribute merchandise or put out papers or whatever to be influencers. And they're going to use the social media platform. It has nothing to do with the affiliation of St. John Bosco. You know, it hit like massively news because I think it was a little bit miscommunicated to the public. But again, it's basically an opportunity for our young men to be hired by this Kong IQ technology company, which is a Dallas-based company, to go out there and to be influencers. And what better way than to try to get kids that are a part of the top-ranked program. So we can't, you know, just like the collegiate kids, you can't go out there in your Bosco uniform and say, I'm a Bosco Brave, and here, buy Kong IQ. It's a technology that we use in our weight room. And I think there's only a couple schools in the country that use it. I know we use it. I know IMG uses it. You know, it's a very sophisticated system for training and strength performance. You know, but it's all about the messaging, and the narrative is our kids are being used as influencers, and they're all individually hired by this company to go out there and to try to push their product. So we're going to get behind it because NIL is here. It's going to expand, and it eventually will get to the complete team level. But right now, that's kind of where we're at.
Got it. Well, thanks for clarifying that, because I think it's a fascinating topic. You know, something we can dive into, and we'll dive into in our show deeper and deeper. But the fact that it had infiltrated the high school ranks at like the premier program in the country was obviously it hit the newspapers recently. So I just wanted to bring it up today.
Right. Yeah, it kind of broke the internet. We were really surprised. You know, they put out a press release, Kong IQ did, and we basically shared that with our social media platforms. And I think that's where some of the miscommunication kind of happened. It made it look like St. John Bosco, the entire team, and the way it was presented was that way. And that certainly isn't the case. We can't do that. You know, but this is all new territory for us.
Yeah,
you know, this is new. We're stepping into a completely new atmosphere in terms of how we're going to use our programs or our players to promote products because it's here. I mean, shoot, we didn't even have social media 10, 12 years ago. You know, so this is all new. So we have to evolve not only as a school, as a community, as a state, as an association, and we're learning as we go through this process, and they're helping us. You know, they don't want to get us in trouble or penalize kids for, you know, trying to capitalize on their name, image, or likeness, but we have to work together to do it in a responsible manner, and I think that's what we're doing here at Bosco.
That's great. That's great, and we appreciate that answer because, I mean, there's a lot of – I think there's still – way too much confusion of what's going on in even the collegiate level. I mean, people just don't understand it. And as anything that's new that comes out, there's going to be some bugs to fix, and there's going to be some people take advantage of it. But I think it'll work itself out. And in the end, I think it'll be great for the kids. I mean,
maybe I'm sorry to interrupt, but maybe we're a test pilot, you know, like, hey, look, this is what Bosco is doing, or this is how it's happening. And how can we educate? Because we're educators, we're teachers. That's ultimately what our job is. How do we continue to move forward to help these kids? I mean, one thing that I'm really proud about in my school is in the fall of 23, we're going to actually implement a new curriculum at our school called financial literacy. And we're going to actually teach our kids about financial wealth management and how to handle that type of thing. It's going to be a graduation requirement. So the classes starting the freshmen of 2023, they're all going to have to be a part of this financial literacy program, which in turn is going to help them not only market themselves, but to protect themselves financially into the future. And I think that's the evolution and where we're going as a country. And it's not just students. It's not just athletes. It's the complete, you know, makeup of student athlete as we move forward.
That comment just made the hair on my arm stand up a little bit because I think that is so valuable. Like you said, not only for athletes, but just for students going into the real world, right? And like that with investors and things like that. So that's awesome to hear. It does look like we're running out of time in our interview here, but Coach, thank you so much for joining us today. Your insight's been fantastic, not only about the football game coming up tomorrow night, but you know what St. John Bosco is all about off the field and everything else too. So I thank you for coming on to our show today. Wish you the best of luck in the game tomorrow. Try to take it easy on Allen, okay? Because we're local here, so they're playing at their stadium, so take it easy on them.
Don't sandbag. No sandbagging here.
All right. Well, Coach, thank you very much, and good luck tomorrow.
All right, Brian, Lendon, thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure being on your show, and all the best of luck to you guys moving forward.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Same. You're muted, Lennon.
That it does that automatically, and I forget to turn it back on. I mean, I just can't believe. I mean, I've been around coaching for, been around football forever, known a lot of coaches, but it's just so fun to interview them and hear about this big game and to be able to talk about some of the trends. I mean, your question about the NIL, the name, image, and likeness, and that how it's filtering down now, at least in thought, to high school sports, and how that's going to pan out. And I think that Coach Negro had an excellent answer on that, and so he promised to keep us up to date on that. We're going to have him on the show again. So, Brian, we're way over. We don't really have a lot of time to prep for next week's show, but we will get some promos out on that. But just give me your thoughts, share your thoughts about our first show today.
Well, I thought it was awesome. A lot of key takeaways from both of those coaches. One thing that both of them share that you can tell is their passion. Their passion for football, but more importantly, their passion for improving their kids and improving their players. I heard it in both of their comments and what they're doing off the field and things like that. I heard experiences for their kids. That's freaking cool, man. That's where, you could hear it in Coach Negro's, just his voice and his how he came to the screen here is his passion. Right. So, that's my biggest takeaways. And I think we're going to get into more and more of that as we interview high school coaches. We're going to interview, collegiate coaches, collegiate players, hopefully get a couple pro athletes on the show as well. So I think we'll see that coming through as a theme as we go forward with the new format here. So I'm super excited about the show. I'm super excited about our interviews with the coaches and of course, Mayor Fulk as well with Alan. So we're going to have a lot of awesome guests, and that fires me up as we're going forward.
Yeah, me as well. And I just want our listeners and viewers to know we want to include you as well. Please comment. We will respond. We will post them. We'll let everybody see what you've got to say. Hot sports opinions, we're all about it. And, if you have a game of the week you'd like for us to showcase, send us your thoughts. We'll see what we can do. All right. With that, Brian, I guess I will let you close us out, and then we'll get ready for next week's show.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for sticking with us. Normally we run an hour. We ran over an hour, but I hope that was entertaining content for you. We certainly had fun with it, and we're going to have fun with our future shows. As Lendon said, as we go along, please comment. As off the hook as these Husker comments are, we'll bring it onto the show. We'll talk about it. We're going to share some hot sports opinions. We'll hopefully have some. What you got?
One thing I forgot. We got to remind people that we are changing our date and time, and so I wanted to post that. We're going from Thursdays at 2 to Tuesdays at 12. So just make sure everybody's aware of that.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. And the reason for the move is it'll give us some time to obviously prep for the coming weekend's games, and then also debrief on what happened over the weekend. We're also going to have some interesting segments, which we're still kind of working on. But we're going to talk some fantasy football along the way. We'll talk some betting lines, maybe for those who entertain that sort of thing. Key matchups. There's a thing called a spread in Vegas. I don't know. We might talk about those every once in a while. We'll have some subject matter experts on some local teams as well as some national interest on pro teams and whatnot. So all kinds of cool content coming up. Looking forward to this weekly show and the rotating topics that we're going to have. So thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for joining us this week, and tune in the future on Tuesdays at noon. We're going live. So we'll see you guys then. Take care in the meantime.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week again for a fresh round.